Welcome to Sleep and Learn English from Stories. Find a comfortable position, take a slow, deep breath, and allow your body to relax. This story is written in clear, gentle English to help you improve your listening skills while you rest. You don't need to focus on every word. Just let the language flow like soft waves, carrying you into calm understanding. Tonight's story is called Thinking About a Lost Friend. It is a quiet, reflective story about memory, friendship, and the way some people stay with us, even when they are no longer part of our daily lives. Now, let your breathing slow, and let the story begin. On a quiet evening when the sky was painted in soft shades of blue and gray, Daniel sat by the window of his small apartment. The city outside was calm, almost sleepy. Cars passed slowly, their lights glowing like gentle fireflies. Somewhere in the distance, a train moved along its tracks, making a low, steady sound. Daniel held a warm cup of tea in both hands. He was not really thinking about the taste. His thoughts were far away, moving slowly, like clouds drifting across the sky. He was thinking about a friend he had lost. Not lost in a sudden or dramatic way. No argument, no final goodbye. Just lost. Life had moved forward, as it often does, and somewhere along the way, the connection had quietly faded. The friend's name was Michael. They had met many years ago, during a time when everything felt new and uncertain. Daniel remembered that first meeting clearly. It was at a small language school, in a classroom that smelled faintly of books and coffee. Michael had arrived late, slightly out of breath, smiling as if he had already known everyone for years. "Sorry," Michael had said, laughing softly. "I got lost." Daniel had smiled back. "Me too," he had thought, though he didn't say it aloud. From that day on, they became friends in an easy, natural way. They studied together, walked home together, and talked about everything and nothing at the same time. Some conversations were deep and meaningful. Others were simple and silly. They talked about dreams. They talked about fears. They talked about where they wanted to be in 5 years, even though neither of them really knew. At night, Daniel would sometimes hear his phone buzz with a message from Michael. "Are you awake?" And often Daniel was. They would talk until the messages slowed, until sleep quietly took over. Those conversations felt endless then, like they would always be part of life. But life, Daniel knew now, does not stay the same. The memory shifted gently, like turning a page. Time passed, classes ended, new responsibilities appeared, work became busy, days filled up with tasks and plans. Messages became less frequent, then shorter. Weeks passed without contact, then months. At first, Daniel told himself it was normal. "We're just busy," he thought. And maybe that was true. But deep inside, there was a soft feeling of loss that he didn't want to look at too closely. One evening, Daniel tried to remember the last real conversation they had shared. Not just a short message or a quick reply, but a true conversation. He couldn't remember. This realization did not hurt sharply. Instead, it felt like a slow ache, quiet and steady. Daniel looked out the window again. A light rain had begun to fall, tapping gently against the glass. The sound was calming, familiar. It reminded him of evenings long ago, when he and Michael would sit in a small cafe, listening to the rain and talking about life. Michael had always been the one to notice small things. "The rain sounds different in every city," he once said. Daniel had laughed. "Rain is just rain." "No," Michael replied softly. "It depends on where you are and who you're with." At the time, Daniel hadn't fully understood. Now, years later, the meaning felt clearer. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the memory settle. Friendship, he realized, is not only about being present. It is also about the moments that remain when someone is no longer there. Daniel opened his eyes and took a slow sip of tea. The warmth spread through him, grounding him in the present. He wondered where Michael was now. Was he happy? Was he tired? Did he ever think about these quiet moments from the past? Daniel did not feel sadness in a heavy way. Instead, he felt something softer, acceptance mixed with gratitude. Some friendships, he thought, are like seasons. They arrive, they change us, and then they move on. That does not mean they were unimportant. It means they were real. As the rain continued, Daniel stood up and walked to a small shelf in his living room. On it were old notebooks, photos, and small objects collected over the years. He picked up a notebook with a worn cover. Inside were notes from his language classes, written in careful handwriting. In the margins, there were small jokes, drawings, and comments. Many of them were from Michael. Daniel smiled. He didn't feel the need to reach out right now. He didn't feel the need to reopen the past or force the present to look different. Instead, he felt peaceful. He understood something important. Not every connection is meant to last forever in the same form. Some people walk with us for a part of the journey, helping us learn, grow, and become who we are. And when the path changes, we continue walking, carrying the memory quietly in our hearts. Daniel placed the notebook back on the shelf and returned to the window. The rain had slowed. The city lights reflected softly on the wet streets. He took one last deep breath and let it out slowly. Tonight, thinking about a lost friend did not bring pain. It brought understanding. And with that understanding came calm. Daniel turned off the light, allowing the room to rest in gentle darkness. The memories remained, but they no longer asked for attention. They simply existed like a quiet story, like a soft rain. And slowly, peacefully, the night continued. Thank you for listening to Sleep and Learn English from Stories. If you enjoyed this calm, reflective story, remember that listening regularly can help your English improve naturally, even while you relax or fall asleep. If this story brought you peace, feel free to listen again or explore other stories on the channel. Now, let your mind rest. Sleep well and keep learning.